All right, people. So I decided to give Fletch, no, confess Fletch a look, right? It is directed by Greg Mottola, who co-wrote the film with Zev Borow. It is produced by Connie Tavel, Jon Hamm, and Bill Block. It's executive produced by Andrew Gulov, Mark Kameen, David List, Greg Mottola, and Thomas Zadra. Music was handled by David Arnold. Sam Levy, cinematography. Andy Keir edits everything. Ellen Chenoweth is on casting. Alex DiGerlando, production design. Nick Francone, art direction. Set decoration is Kendall Anderson. Costume design is Wendy Chuck. Hair and makeup, we have Juliet Loveland, Brenda McNally, Trish Seeney, and Sherin Smith. Our cast. Well, Irvin Morris Fletch is played by Jon Hamm. We have Laurel Goodwin, played by Caitlin Zera Rose. Inspector Morris Monroe is played by Roy Wood Jr. We have got what is her name? Gosh, that's it. Junior Detective Grits, played by Aidan Mayeri. Right? We have got Owen, played by John Bellman. Eve, his neighbor, is played by Annie Mumolo. Ronald Horlan is played by Carl MacLachlan. Right. Frank Jaff is played by John Slattery. Tatiana is played by Lucy Punch. We've got the Countessa, played by Marcia Gay Harden, and her daughter-in-law, Angela De Grassi, played by Lorenza Izzo. The Commodore is played by Kenneth Kimmins. The Count de Grassi is played by Robert Picardo. Yeah, I kind of feel that's probably our main. Yeah, I think that's probably our main lot of characters. There's a lot of kind of bit people floating around and all of this kind of jazz. Right now, the gist of the story is this: roguish, charming, and endlessly troublesome Fletch, who becomes the prime suspect in a murder case while searching for a stolen art collection. The only way to prove his innocence, find out which of the long list of suspects is the culprit. From the eccentric art dealer and the missing playboy to a crazy neighbor and Fletch's Italian girlfriend. Crime, in fact, has never been this disorganized. So, yes, that's the film. And yeah, this is based on the third book in the series, right? Which was written by Gregory MacDonald. Came out in 1976, people. The previous two, Fletch and Fletch Live, starred Chevy Chase in the Fletch role. And this is one of those ones that has been talked about, right, for years. For years, you'd hear, oh, they're going to make a new Fletch film. Oh, this person is attached to starring this person. And it's just one of those ones, man. So it finally got made. And to be honest with you, it kind of feels like white men can't jump, right? Kind of feels like white men can jump. Like, and with that, I mean, it's something that I don't really feel it works now, right? As you think of all those old films like Pink Panther and stuff like that. My mind's gone blank, people. But yeah, you think of those films, right? They're goofy. People are just doing ridiculous things. Like we've got the neighbor Evie, who's setting things alight, who's knocking things over. And you're like, okay, that was amusing in the 60s, maybe. But you nowadays, you just can't buy someone being that ridiculous. You know, like there's clumsy for sure. People can be clumsy, but that's just that over the topness that you're just like, I mean, we've just seen it so many times, right? It just feels like a lazy characterization rather than, you know what I mean, this nuanced character who's just a bit clumsy, right? Just seems to find themselves on the wrong end of everything. You know, because I think there is a way of doing this film which I think would work, but you just have to kind of update from the played out tropes, right? And that's what this is, just slow to played out tropes, right? It's the oversexed old woman. You know what I mean? The oversexed who's always like, oh, you want to sleep with me? Oh, okay, I will let you. You know, and you're just like, I mean, you're telling me you can't get rid of an old woman from your house. Like it's just a little ridiculous now. You know, it's used to be amusing sometimes. Like I remember just Eartha Kitt and Boomerang, right? That was, and he sleeps with her, and then it's just like, yeah, she doesn't make decisions. Like, you know, I mean, what are you doing? You didn't need to do that shit. I mean, there's never a reason to do that shit, but yo. So yeah, it's just, you know, it's just one of those things that you're just like, really, what we're doing, right? You've got to meet the count, the daughter, and then it's just like, oh, we're both in love, and it's just like, I mean, you've only just met. Like we could just say you like each other. That's fine. Why don't we just say that? It doesn't have to be this over the topness, which then, like, there's all of these things, right, that are pointing in these different directions. And it's just like, wait, why would you believe this person over that person? Why don't you like, you think someone would go to the police? Why aren't you going to the police? Right? The way the police are handling all of it, you're just like, nah, no one's doing that. Like, no one's doing it, makes no sense, right? There's contamination of evidence. There's just it's just foolish. It's a lot of foolishness, which I am not against a foolish film, right? I'm not against fun people. I'm a fun motherfucker. But let's move away from lazy storytelling, right? Let's give someone a plot that feels substantial, that feels intelligent. You know, when you look at the Knives Out films, right? I thought both of those were fun as fuck, right? There was silliness and all of that, but I thought it worked. You know what I mean? And there's countless of films that you think, oh yeah, that was a little silly, but it works. You know, But this, yeah, it just felt very stuck in the ways, very much, right? A pastiche of the original Fletch films. Right? It's just like, okay, so Fletch and Fletch Lives. Oh, they did this, so we have to now do that. Rather, okay, those films are fun. People love those films. I didn't love those films, but people love those films. Why did they love those films? All right, so obviously that won't work now. So let's update it, but we can embrace that theme, that essence, and just put that modern spin on it. That's what I feel should have been done, but it wasn't. And so you just have someone doing all of these things that you're just like, wait, no one's gonna not suspect, right? No one's gonna not see through that. You know, it's always, you know, when you have a film and someone's like, oh, follow that car. And you're like, okay, you're the only two cars on the road, but you're telling me that the lead car hasn't clocked that someone is fucking following them. You know, it's just stuff like that that you're just like, ugh, people, come on now. What are we doing? Right? What are we doing? I did think Jon Hamm looked like Chevy Chase, right? I thought he looks like Chevy Chase. Is that just me? I mean, obviously, not the old Chevy Chase from Community, but the younger Chevy Chase. I thought they looked similar. Now, that might just be a makeup thing. Maybe, but I don't know. Or I could just be seeing shit. Who knows, people? But yeah, I didn't really think that Fletch was the best representation of a great comedy. You know, just didn't. But I will probably say that, I mean, if you enjoyed like Coming to America too, yeah. If you enjoyed Coming to America too, if you enjoyed You People, you know what I mean? Like, you think about some of these modern comedies, right? If those work well for you, then yeah, I think that this new Fletch, you'll probably enjoy that as well. You know, I mean, as I said, look, I didn't like the original Fletches, so I would probably say if you like those, you could most likely like this one as well. You know, if you like, yeah, like some of the Naked Gun stuff, right? Naked Gun, Cheaper by the Dozen, like that kind of stuff, then yeah, maybe this will work, right? But yeah, not really my cup of tea. I'm just like, Fletch, don't confess, rot in jail. Maybe a little harsh. Maybe a little harsh, people. You know? But yeah. Like no character really gets fleshed out. So yeah, just, you know, the acting just seems passable, right? And that's just not to say anyone was terrible, but it's just they weren't really given a lot to play with. You know what I mean? But as I said, people, think about the stuff you like, right? Type of comedies that work for you. This may work for you. Didn't for me, but it's out there. It is out and about. So yeah, check it if it sounds like it's your type of thing. All right, confess Fletch.